If I make a good play while playing sports, please restrain from slapping my ass cheeks. A good old high five or even an old-fashioned good job will do just fine. I've never really understood why that's acceptable in modern day society, and we wonder why alien life forms always try to end us in every single Hollywood movie ever made. And I know what most of you guys are thinking. Angel, you're a nerd. You clearly know nothing about sports. Why are you talking about sports? Well, I actually love playing sports, and primarily my all-time favorite sport has to be basketball. So it's really nice when two of my favorite hobbies kind of cross over. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at the Hasbro starting lineup action figure line that they released last year starting in 2022. We got some fantastic figures. We got LeBron James, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Ja Morant, Giannis, Trae Young, and Tatum. Now, I'm going off of just pure memory, so I might have missed one, but you get the overall idea. They came with, I believe, like 6 hands total. They were supposed to come with a unique trading card that you could only get from purchasing the figure, and then I remember them saying something about there being like variants to those cards. Like I said, I didn't really keep up too much with the card news, but that you were able to pick up one of these figures. Eventually, they decided to release the actual basketball backboard, and I believe you could purchase that for about like an extra $30. All of them included action figure stands that were also unique to the line. So they did, in my personal opinion, a pretty good job. I know I did make a video criticizing Hasbro when they first announced it because they were advertising the pre-order at $49.99, and then a ton of people bought them. Maybe like thousands of orders went in, and then out of nowhere they decided to drop the price point to $29.99, which is where I personally picked it up. I picked up LeBron James thus far. That's the only figure that I've picked up. I'm very weary of jumping into another line just because I'm collecting so many others, but I do plan on picking these up eventually. And I have to say, personally, I'm a little bit surprised that there are so many rumors coming from different sources saying that potentially Hasbro might have dropped the starting lineup line. Personally, I feel like there's still a ton of potential, and I can only assume that the line itself didn't do very well, especially considering that they did initially expect to receive about $50 per figure, and as I mentioned, they somewhere decided that that just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't a realistic goal. On top of that, it wasn't selling out from any particular stores or any big giant chain that was carrying this particular line. So it makes me believe that Hasbro maybe just doesn't have the confidence that the starting lineup from them is going to take off. But as I mentioned, I still think there's potential. There's still some reuse that they can get away with, so they don't have to go out there and come up with new molds or any new ideas. It's as simple as, for example, doing away jerseys or a different style of jersey, maybe a classic jersey for each particular player that has already been featured in the line. So it would just be a complete reuse with a new uniform, and I think most diehards would jump in on that. It could be maybe a store exclusive. That way you don't have to take away any shelf space or any retail space for that matter, but it can continue. I mean, they don't necessarily have to give you new body molds. A lot of the players have similar body types, so I'm sure they could just reuse the same body molds and just port on new head sculpts. They could also reuse just some arms or legs or particular portions of the overall body sculpt that they've already been using. As I mentioned, a lot of players have the very similar body type, so they wouldn't necessarily have to play too much around with that. Or they could have one particular body mold for like the small point guard, and then a different body type for like centers, power forward. So they could kind of mix and match a little bit here and there, but they wouldn't necessarily have to create a new body mold for every single player in the NBA. That way they wouldn't have to spend too much of their budget on like new sculpting or body molds or having an engineer go in there and create all of that stuff. And if you really want people to jump in on this hardcore, you could also just go to like NBA Legends. I know a lot of people are not, especially people that are loyalists or people that have grown up and kind of romanticized the past a little bit too much, you know, that aren't necessarily into the modern day NBA. You could always give them classic legends like maybe an MJ or a Magic Johnson or maybe a Hakeem, a Larry Bird. I mean, the list just goes on and on of, you know, legendary players that they could include. Same thing, they could have cards that are specific for the line. and again ratios of that particular card, maybe like a 1 in 100 or a 1 in 1000. That way you encourage all of the fan base and your consumer base to go out there and try to maybe buy multiples. The other big thing that I think needs to come back 100% is the plastic packaging. I completely get that this was a time when they were trying to go away from the plastic. It was like kind of a plastic free era that Hasbro was trying out, and I completely get that they try to do that with the Hasbro starting lineup, but I feel like you really need to bring the plastic back for these particular figures, because a lot of people do want to buy multiples. A lot of people like to hang these up on their wall and have them displayed in packaging. And if they really wanted to push the reuse even a little bit further for maybe a store exclusive somewhere, they could have them wearing like normal street clothes, maybe having like some Air Jordan shorts or like an Air Jordan t-shirt. You never know. And as I said, you're for the most part going to be using the same body mold, so you can still cut corners here and there. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's really sad to hear these rumors about this line potentially getting shut down by Hasbro, especially when I feel like they have a great base, a great foundation moving forward. They already have some great body molds for a lot of the players, and as I mentioned, some of them have very similar body types, so they can just reuse body molds. As I mentioned, maybe they could have like a specific body molds for point guards or guys at a certain size, and then maybe for, you know, taller, beefier guys, maybe like 7-foot centers, they could have a body mold for them. The only real thing that you would be switching in and out would be maybe the arms and the head sculpt, things of that nature. But regardless, the potential is definitely there. So hopefully Hasbro continues the line. We get to see something in the very near future. I'm sure there are a plethora of other great ideas out there. Those are just some of the things that I thought of off the top of my head. Maybe they could have like removable shoes as well, like removable feet, and you could replace them with other shoes, because technically, for those of you guys that are big shoe fans, you know that they're actually wearing like real life shoes, that they're wearing like LeBron's or Kyrie's or anything along those lines. They're actually wearing real shoes that you can go out and purchase at the store. So maybe you could have those switched out somehow, but I doubt that them bringing in, like I said, classic legends like MJ and so on and so forth, I doubt that they're not going to sell like crazy. So hopefully we hear something very soon. As I said, this was released about a year ago now, so hopefully we get to hear something from them in the very near future. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Did you pick this line up? Were you happy with it? Were you unhappy? I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned. We have a lot more action figure content coming at you guys, and let me know if you guys have any ideas. What kind of stuff do you like? Do you guys like the display style videos? Do you guys like action figure hunting, or do you just like some of the rant videos? Let me know, as I said, down in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.